Right now, the tournament play has been very fun to watch, but we are going to talk with a specific player in the EU round robin, currently tied with Cezoni at a 3-1 scoreline. Of course, that is Catch. We're going to have a little bit of a chat with Catch and see how he's doing. I believe he is over in Berlin, Germany. And so it'll be really interesting to see what he has to say about the tournament just in general, but I think we have him on the line. Catch, how are you doing today?
Good day to you and to everyone who is watching. I'm doing well, thank you for asking.
There he is, Catch, the man himself. To kick things off, I just want to ask, Catch, how did you you find yourself in this position where you're playing in the Shadowverse Open, kind of one of the bigger tournaments in the Shadowverse community, one of the biggest, and kind of, amongst the top 12 players in the European region. How did you even get to start playing Shadowverse? How did you get to be this good?
I started playing Shadowverse because I got a little bored by Hearthstone. I think Shadowverse is more explosive, definitely. And after a while, I decided to give it a shot to try my decks on a tournament because there was Blood Meta and I had a pretty good deck that often beats Blood, so I felt pretty confident.
I
didn't match 20 up, sorry.
Oh, no problem. No problem at all. I just wanted to ask, because you've played card games for a while, have you ever played competitively in any way, shape, or form, and have you played on camera before?
No, it's my first time, actually.
Is that tough to do? Is that like a new thing? Is that strange? Do you stream at all?
I tried to stream, but I'm not really talented, I think, because it's really hard for me to speak up.
It is very difficult.
Sometimes I do it, but I wouldn't highlight it.
Hey, but you're doing fine right now. It's a pleasure hearing you speak here. Who do you think you should be looking out for in week 4 of the round robin? What are some of the opponents that you only have one game left, right? You're 3-1. I can't remember off the top of my head who your last opponent is, but in your opinion, who are the biggest dangers in your particular group in the round robin? Because you could all end up 3-2, right?
So my match will be really important for me because if Asia beats me, everything can happen for me. So I definitely want to highlight Fatina because he is a fantastic player and I have a lot of respect for him. And yes, I would take an eye on him because he can decide the group completely.
Yes, that's very true, Fatina, and especially we talked a little bit about Fatina. He had a rough start to the round robin, but actually has been doing really well and beating Cezoni, who is undefeated in the group. And that kind of leads me into the next question. The only player you've lost to is Cezoni himself. What do you think was a key to your defeat in that matchup? Was it something like preparation-wise, or what was it that kind of made Cezoni a difficult opponent for you?
Apparently, I should have banned Snowman because that deck is in Cezoni's hand. It's hell.
In Cezoni's hand, it's hell.
Definitely, he performs very well on it.
How do you? So, out of curiosity, because you specifically identified in Cezoni's hand, have you played against that deck in other situations? How has that been for you in general, like fighting against that deck in different scenarios?
I saw it sometimes on ladder, but I never lost to it. So I were pretty confident, but he showed me that there was no reason to be it.
Oh gosh, so he is a little bit of a unicorn. I think he's a little bit magical there. But let's talk a little bit about kind of dreams. If you win the regional finals, if you get all that prize money, what do you think you would spend your winnings doing? Is it traveling? Is it throwing all your money at Shadowverse? What would you do with the prize winnings from the regional finals if you win it?
I really want to spend it on the move in with my girlfriend, so it would really finance it for me if I would win. But on the other side, I also want to give something back to the community. If I really win in first place, I would like to give something back to the community in first place. So maybe a little tournament or something like this, just to spice up a little the European scene.
Ooh,
so
that's actually.
But don't. So it's just a plan that I have to win, obviously.
That's true. That's actually interesting. You mentioned the European community, and obviously, I think Europe. They're doing really well. I actually think Europe is playing fantastically in the Shadowverse Open, and I'm actually really excited for tomorrow. We have a cross-region show match between North America and Europe, so we're going to get some people riled up and talking about which region is better here. But you mentioned the European community a little bit. What, in your eyes, like, where do you think the European community is? Are you guys tight-knit, close? Are you guys spread across? You know, are there enough events? What do you think about the European scene right now?
I think it's in the state of a child, so it's completely open how it will evolve in this future, and there will be a lot of effort to really bank on it. And of course, we need Psy games to push this awesome game further, so that we have the basics for improving also in Europe and to get more reach, especially maybe to hunt down some parts of the shares of Hearthstone.
That's a very true statement here. We talked a little bit about kind of going back to the game a little bit, because I realized that you haven't really talked about. We haven't really been able to discuss some of the balance changes. We just kind of went through line by line some of the changes that came through recently. How did you feel about Wonderland Dreams, and how do you feel about the game's direction now and the state that it's in? And kind of what are you looking forward to in the expansion? What are your general thoughts about the game right now?
I'm really curious about the expansion, because now the game is in a pretty good shape. There are plenty of decks that are really good, and there are unseen potential over. So I think there are some hidden decks that aren't discovered yet. So the big question of the next expansion will be how to implement like 120 cards, or how much it will be. And what does this do to the balance? Do the alt expansion then doesn't matter anymore? That's the big question. So, Wonderland was perfect. It fits, in my opinion, it fits perfectly because it pushed a many new archetypes, but didn't destroy the old. And that's the challenge for the new expansion. If it can fulfill that would be great.
That's actually a really interesting point. How did you feel the same way about the expansion when it started out? I know a lot of people very early on, when the expansion first landed, before any of the changes, a lot of people were either talking about how they didn't like that all the crafts were running neutral packages and made all the different crafts look very similar, as well as something like Spawn of the Abyss. How did you feel about the state of the game at that point?
Well, in general, it wasn't healthy, but for me, it was good because I had a plan to beat Blood. So it was my opportunity that mattered. But for the overall community, it wasn't that good because it doesn't make fun to see the same deck every time again. Sure. And to know exactly that it will beat you at round 6 or 7, maybe.
All right. Well, I think you're absolutely right. I think the space is the game is in a really good space, and the changes were really good. And are there any last shout-outs that you want to give, Cash, before we kind of move on?
Of course, to the Shadowverse community, because it's one of the nicest community I've experienced so far. And especially to the people who supports me, and of course to my girlfriend and my family. Yeah, that was it.
Oh, well, thank you very much for taking time out here. Definitely make sure, Cash, you stay tuned, because we are about to go through the Twitch stage show and reveal some expansion information. So I'd love to get your thoughts later, maybe off air even. after that. But thanks so much for taking the time and coming on and chatting with me. And I'll bid you goodbye for now.